screwed with twice per day now. I'm being very careful with it, but I don't know that I trust the other guy. Mark Vandermeer reacted to our poll this morning. What a beautiful, glorious Thursday this is, and it will be a historic throwback Thursday, and historic if you're a baseball fan, if you're a sports fan, if you're a movie fan, tonight's the night. The Field of Dreams game will be played tonight in Dyersville, Iowa, on the location where the movie Field of Dreams was shot. Let's see, that movie came out in 1989, so they probably shot it the year before that in 1988. But that's going to be fun tonight. Yankees, White Sox, they're wearing throwback uniforms, back to the era of, when the Chicago White Sox were the Chicago Black Sox. And if you know the storyline of that movie, Shoeless Joe Jackson was one of the guys banned from baseball due to that 1919 Chicago Black Sox scandal, where players were accused of throwing the World Series. So Field of Dreams game, appropriately on a Throwback Thursday. It's the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about this morning, from Dak Prescott to Baylor University to the Astros and their race. They win again yesterday, but they're still in a tight race with the Oakland A's. Shannon Salty Sweeney, how are you on this Thursday?
I am doing just fine. I got my free Dunkin' Donuts coffee this morning because your girl's been so many times that she earned herself a free one. So it's a great way to start the day. And like you said, we've got a lot to cover going into today.
We sure do. Lots going on in the world of sports. All right, how many Dunkin' Donuts coffees do you have to get a free one?
It's point based, so I think it's 200 points for a free drink. And right now during the summer on Fridays, I get 4 times the points. So typically I've just been like going and paying on Fridays, and then during the week I've been a lot better about just, coffee from home, coffee from the store, and not driving through every day. But today I my free one was expiring, so obviously I had to go.
Very cool. Cool to get the free coffee. So is it, how do you take your, I drink
Sugar.
coffee black. It's
Oh,
the goal is to ingest coffee
you
into my system.
you and Dan Campbell, just the black coffee and some extra shot of caffeine. No, I need flavor, and I need milk. I need it to look as caramely and milky and as possible. And that's the thing when you're a person who gets milk in your coffee, when you get iced coffee, and it's like you can see right when you get it if it's going to taste good or not. Because if it's too dark, you're like, this is going to taste sour this morning. And that has happened, and that has ruined many a morning. But I've found ways to work around it when that does happen. It's just throwing in sugar packets just to make it all that much sweeter.
So sometimes, okay, so you get coffee at the same Dunkin'.
Yeah,
But
not consistent.
it's not consistent. That's weird.
Well, the people who work there aren't consistent, so I think that's part of it.
Woo, that's the problem. Yeah. Dave Ayler, our soundscape stylist. Dave, how do you take your
coffee, man?
I don't drink coffee.
You don't drink coffee?
No, never been a coffee guy.
That is un-American. I question your patriotism.
I never got into it. Just never liked the taste. I tasted it, probably the first time I tasted it was probably 7 or 8 years old, because my
as a 7 or 8 year old, you do not. It's like,
no,
you don't like beer. You don't like beer at 7 or 8 years old if you take a sip.
No, I did like beer at 7 or 8.
Okay, then maybe that explains a few things.
Yeah, exactly. But I've never been a coffee drinker.
Wow. All right, now how do you? Because you get up early every freaking morning.
Yeah.
You have already, before this show goes on the air, you've already worked another radio show. For people who don't know that, down the hall in San Antonio over at 1200 WOAI, which is the 50,000 watt blowtorch, working with Tim Merriman and Charlie Parker and those peeps over there. How do you, when you wake up in the morning, what do you do to, are you drinking tea? Are you drinking Red Bull? You're on the natch? What are you doing?
Now, I used to drink all that stuff, and then the doctor says you need to cut all that stuff out, or at least cut it back. So I cut it all back. Now I just drink water.
Wow.
And I'll have like one soda when I go home, and that's it.
So nothing to help you wake up in the morning.
No,
Yeah.
not anymore. I got over it. And the thing is, what I've noticed is when I go home, because when I used to do all that, when I'd go home, I'd crash out. And now when I go home, I don't crash out.
Wow.
Yeah, my doctor told me to drink water too. We all see how that's going.
It's
It's harder than it sounds.
It is.
At first it is. Yeah, you have caffeine withdrawal.
Wow.
But after a couple of weeks, I got over it.
Now, speaking of water, and this is weird, and this is a total diversion, but I'll get back to sports here in a moment. I promise. I swear to God. But since you both mentioned water in the morning, I saw a video of a doctor recently talking about it. When people have heart attacks, they usually have heart attacks between 6:30 in the morning and 10:30 in the morning. And according to this doctor, 2 factors play into those heart attacks. And again, I don't know if this is some quack on video or not. And I'm no doctor and I have no idea. And maybe there's some doctors listening who will let us know, hey man, that's ridiculous. But according to this doctor that I saw, and I saw it on the internet, so it must be true. According to this doctor, he said 2 factors. One, dehydration. So people who have heart attacks, and obviously there's other factors involving heart attacks, including heredity and all kinds of stuff and how your heart is. I get that. But this doctor said, number 1, hydration, that people don't drink enough water, especially in the morning, and overnight they get dehydrated because they haven't had water. And then the other is like cortisol. Like people will wake up in the morning, because I hear most heart attacks are like on a Monday morning. People wake up and they go, oh my God, I got to do all this work. I got this coming at me today at work. And so according to this doctor, 2 factors are: 1, dehydration. So drink your water, especially in the morning, but drink it all the time. And number 2, cortisol, because you're getting tense and there's cortisol coursing through your veins, and that contributes to a heart attack. Does that sound nuts, Shannon?
Well, you said internet doctor and you threw me off. Is it better to be an internet doctor or I play doctor on TV?
Probably.
I mean, what you say sounds very true.
I mean, it sounded plausible to me. It sounded plausible.
Yeah.
I don't know. You never know.
And you're supposed to drink like 75 ounces of water a day or something crazy like
yeah,
that.
I think for me it's 64.
64. Okay. So,
For women, I think it's a little bit less.
and I don't even come close to 64.
It's so much water. I drink at least 2 16 ounces, so what's that, 32 ounces a day? But that's still only half of what I'm supposed to do. I don't understand. Like when I was doing that or attempting to do that, I had to pee all the time. I gotta sit here for 3 hours a day. I can't get. Excuse me, Chris. If you see me disappear, you know where I am. I'm in the bathroom again.
Well, and this doctor, I wasn't going to bring that up, but since you brought that part of it up, he also said one of the reason people don't want to drink water before they go to sleep is they don't want to have to get up in the middle of the night and go pee
every
multiple
30
times.
minutes. I was getting up.
So people avoid drinking water or drinking things an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours before they go to bed because they want to minimize that issue.
Yeah, I don't put anything into my body 2 hours before I go to bed during the week.
Wow.
Because I'm like, I can't. I need to sleep. Because if I wake up at 1 a.m., go to the bathroom, I'm then awake for 3 hours thinking about how I only have 3 hours until I have to get up.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I did that this morning.
I do that.
I didn't wake up to go to the bathroom. I woke up and it was like, oh, I got to be up in 2 hours.
I do that every night. When on a work night, it's like I roll over and I look at the clock and I go, oh, midnight. I wake up in 3 hours. Then I roll over. Oh, it's 1:30 in the morning. I wake up in 90 minutes. Oh, it's 2:30. I get up and sometimes I just go, I'm up. Heck, let's get rolling.
You know what? We need and I hate needles, so I can't believe I'm saying this, but like they have them in Vegas everywhere. But the oxygen and water IVs.
Ooh.
The hydration IVs that are like really big now. We just get one of those just during the show. We'll just all be hooked up to our IVs, and then the show's over. We'll be hydrated for the whole day.
Yes. So you said Vegas. Is that a thing in Vegas?
They have them at the airport. I've only been to Vegas once, and that's one of the takeaways.
Because everybody's all hung over.
Yeah, and they're at they said, let's stay the extra night in Vegas. I'll take the first flight after to work, and they've got the hydration IVs at the airport that you can buy.
Oh my God!
I don't know how much they are, and I don't know about someone who works at the airport sticking a needle in my arm.
Exactly. How's
it's probably one of those internet doctors that's doing it.
Exactly. God, that's so weird. My goodness. Well,
sure, athletes use them.
Yeah. True. Yeah, but you hopefully have good trainers and healthcare professionals
Mhm.
sticking the needle in your arm if you're an
Unless you're
athlete.
at the Chargers. Don't do that.
Oh,
Don't let anybody stick
boom.
needles in you if you're a Charger.
Tyrod Taylor. Speaking of Tyrod Taylor,
And we're going to have him maybe as early as Friday.
Yes.
Mark Vandermeer responded to our poll question today. I mentioned the Field of Dreams game is tonight. So
Mm-hmm.
we'd ask the question. In fact, Shannon, do you have the poll question in front of you?
I do, asking what is the greatest baseball movie ever? This is always a hot debate because there are so many, and there's so many that are of great quality.
Yes.
Mr. Mark Vandermeer says Bull Durham. I've never seen that one, so I'm not sure. But he claims the poll is over, that is the ultimate, no discussion needed.
No discussion.
But Mark, I've never seen it, so you're gonna have to. I don't know if you've got a copy, send it my way.
You got your list. You got to see Bull Durham. It's outstanding.
Our options today are Field of Dreams, of course, because of tonight's game, currently leading the way with 54% of the vote. Major League with 18%. 9% of the vote going to The Natural. I've never seen that one. I haven't seen any of these actually on our list. So I went with Other, which is currently at 18%. And my vote was The Rookie, because that's one that came out in my youth. I watched it all the time. I loved that it was in Texas. I was like, I know that place. And my favorite baseball player, Mike Hardball Harge, is in that movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He is in the movie, as well as some of his teammates from the time. Yeah. He apparently was gonna have a speaking role, and then it got cut or something but he is in the tryout scene. He does a turn, pass, toss, whatever. He's in the movie. So, and I never knew that growing up, and then of course, like he's my favorite baseball player now, so it's pretty cool. It just makes it that much more special because I've always loved that movie.
Wow. Jason Paniagua on the live video feed says The Sandlot. So the fan gets a vote.
Classic.
On Facebook Live. Very, very. So yeah, the way the polls are set up on Twitter, the maximum we can give you is 4 choices. So the fourth choice is Other, and you tell us.
Yeah.
So if you don't like just off the top of our heads this morning, we had to go with Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
Story tonight.
Maybe in October we do like a bracket challenge, because there are so many.
And October would be a good time for that.
Yeah.
Baseball culminates in October. But it is interesting how, because I think of other sports movies, and obviously Rocky, the original Rocky and the Rocky series is big, and there have been some good football movies, but it seems like baseball, there are so many baseball movies. It seems baseball lends itself to drama or movie making or storytelling. So I know Major League obviously is a comedy. Bad News Bears was a comedy. I think baseball, for whatever the reason, or maybe more screenwriters just grew up watching baseball than football or basketball. I mean,
yeah.
Got Space Jam, so maybe Space Jam's making the argument for basketball. But I think my favorite movie ever, not just sports movie, my favorite movie is Field of Dreams. I've seen it hundreds of times. I saw it in the theaters when it came out. When it came out on VHS before the DVD, that's how old I am. I still have them somewhere in my house. I got VHS copies of Field of Dreams. When the DVD came out, I got the DVD. When the 20th anniversary DVD with special features came out, I got that. When the 25th anniversary DVD came out, I got that. I'm a freak. So, and I'm, baseball's not even my favorite sport. I love football.
Yeah.
But it's my favorite movie. It's just so well done.
It is interesting that, like, for as many Americans specifically who are like, baseball's so slow, yada yada yada, that there are so many baseball movies, and of sports movies, they're typically the ones that pop up as people's favorites. I wonder why that is. Maybe like football feels like we don't get to know guys as much because of the helmet. I don't know. That's interesting now that I'm thinking about it. Like basketball, it's like, okay, you have Space Jam, and most of the basketball movies end up being about coaches and less about players.
Yeah.
Or teams.
But we'll talk about it a little bit later. I'm going to be very interested tonight because it's in Dyersville, Iowa, where this movie was shot, and in the movie, the Kevin Costner character, Ray Kinsella in the movie, was originally a book. He mows down his cornfield to build a baseball diamond in the middle of nowhere, and they're putting up bleachers, and they're going to play an actual Major League Baseball game tonight between the New York Yankees and the Chicago White Sox. So So I'm going to be. I believe that's on Fox. We'll check that. I think it starts at 6. We'll check that and make sure we're right about that here in a bit. But it's going to be fascinating, Shannon, to see how they pull that off.
Yeah, I saw they're gonna wear some throwback uniforms in reference to that movie, and I'm interested to see if it goes well. Or would they be willing to do something like this every year? Because
Yeah.
I think marketing wise for baseball, it's fantastic because you do have people, like we said, there's a lot of people who love these baseball movies, but baseball just isn't their sport that they would typically watch. Maybe you get people to tune in, at least for this once in a lifetime, one off experience, whatever. I don't know how people would feel about maybe having different teams. Obviously, they're using these teams for a reason.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping it goes well. Obviously, it'll look different with the bleachers.
Yeah. First pitch is at 6:15. So a pregame starts at 5:30. So I think pregame is probably going to be pretty cool on Fox.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Shannon, I would hope, I would think, I agree with you. It's a cool marketing thing, and I would think you're just kind of like the Hall of Fame game in football. Just create an annual event and take this thing out to Tyersville, Iowa. I mean, I would. It is a destination for fans.
Yeah.
For a lot of fans, it's on their bucket list. It's on mine. So if Major League Baseball did a game every year out there and rotated,
Yeah.
you start off with Yankees, White Sox. I get it because that was in the movie. But yeah, after you've done it in the initial game, every year now you could rotate teams. I think it'd be a very cool idea.
Yeah, it's something sports fans would put on their calendar every year, much like the Super Bowl, much like just October for baseball and the summer for basketball. It just becomes a staple. And like you said, I mean, that'd be really cool if you got the chance to go out there and watch a game and live out your very own field of dreams, sir.
Yes. Woo. Hey, coming up, we have the high five play of the day. We're getting a lot of ideas for the best baseball movie ever. We'll walk you through those. There is some odd Dak Prescott news out there, potentially troubling Dak Prescott news. We will get into. And speaking of troubling, Baylor University in the headlines again for all the wrong reasons. We'll talk about that as well. A little bit later in the 7 o'clock hour, about an hour from now, in fact, Shannon's Salty Shakedown, this day in sports history, sports birthdays, and a whole lot more. Dave Ayler is your soundscape stylist. She's the salty one. I'm Chris. We're with you till 9. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Chris Duel Show. Woo! Frankie Dank says I was going to say the rookie. Joining us on Twitch. Sam Tobias, Anthony Del Toro, Dave Emilio Castanuela. I love the natural myself. Jason Paniagua, Foamfoot 420, John Williams, Tracy Bogert, Hector Gomez, Ralph Balderas, Andrew Guevara, Steve Duraco, the original Rock, is in here. All right. I'm going to grab coffee. I'll be right back. James Pellman, welcome back in. Good to have you. Good to have everybody on board on a Throwback Thursday. If you build it, he will come. Go the distance. Woo! Woo! Yeah, Hector Gomez, I'm with you. I give a slight edge to Field of Dreams, but I also, man, I love The Natural. It is so well done. It is so amazing. Dave Emilio saying can't hear me. That's interesting. Let me know if anybody else can not hear me. To type that in. Anyone else is having trouble hearing me? I don't know. Everything's been a little this week. Everything's been a little weirder on this setup. Nope. Yeah, people are having a hard time hearing me, or they're not hearing me. I have no idea. I love technology. The Rockin' Tunes are submitted for your approval by soundscape stylist Dave Ayler. Dave O. Super Dave Ayler. Welcome in. It's the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney on a Throwback Thursday, on a Thursday that will lead us into the big attraction in sports of the day or of the night, which will be the Field of Dreams game between the Yankees and the White Sox. And who knew the Yankees and the White Sox would be pretty darn good this year when that one went on schedule. I mean, usually the Yankees are good, but White Sox have been phenomenal, especially. So that makes it even more fun.
It's just rigged, Chris. Just
Say what?
baseball. It's just baseball. They're rigging it. It's all a setup for tonight.
It'll probably go extra innings. They'll rig it to go.
Oh yeah, it'll keep you up. You'll have to flip back and forth though, because it is the official start to preseason. I mean, we had the Cowboys and the Steelers. That was week 0. But we've got preseason football tonight, tomorrow, and throughout the weekend.
This is the time of year, and let's see, NFL Network tonight. You've got the Washington football team at New England taking on the Patriots at Gillette Stadium. That's a 6:30 start in the Central Time Zone. Your other game also starting at 6:30 tonight. The Philadelphia Eagles hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. So very interesting. Yeah. I'm gonna have to do some channel surfing, but I think that Field of Dreams game is going to be so unusual that it'll be interesting it's going to be probably get most of my attention tonight. All right, lots to talk about this morning, but what we like to do at this time every morning is give somebody a high five. It's what we call the high five play of the day, brought to you by High Five, appropriately. 2 locations in the Austin area. So much you can do at a High Five. Big screen TVs everywhere so you can see sports. They've got great food. They've got great drinks. They've got food and drink specials. They've got great games you can play, whether it's laser tag, axe throwing, bowling. My goodness, everything going on at High Five. And Shannon, who is deserving of a high five this morning?
It's going to Patrick Mahomes.
Oh!
And I know we give high fives to Patrick Mahomes a lot. I mean, he's just a stand-up guy. He's obviously a pretty decent football player. You know, he gets the cover of Madden again. He's been to a couple Super Bowls. He's got an MVP. He just had a little girl this year. He's got a lot of things going for him. I saw yesterday his merch line with Adidas dropped. He's now got his own MP logo. Some of the stuff actually looks pretty cool. But today we're giving him a high five because he is a true Texan, sir. He is a Texan through and through. He's even noted, you know, when I went to the NFL, that was really my first time outside of Texas. And the thing he missed the most, sir, was Whataburger, as I think many Texans do when they find themselves in a place without that 24-hour service. I mean, what a luxury it is to have that when you are a Texan. And as we know, Whataburger, it's Chicago or something. Some company now owns Whataburger, and a lot of that was, hey, they're going to expand, and it's happening. Patrick Mahomes has partnered with KMO Burgers, a franchise group that plans to open 30 Whataburgers over the next 7 years in the Kansas City area, with the first one set to open in 2022. As long as it tastes the same, I'm happy for Whataburger. Born and raised a Texan burger place that is now making it around the world, and Patrick Mahomes bringing that to Kansas City, not just for him to enjoy, but all those people who habitat that area. I'm excited for them. I'm excited for Patrick Mahomes for getting himself I mean, imagine how good he'll be now that he can go get his late night Whataburger after games. Just imagine. He said he grew up eating Whataburger when his mom would work and he'd babysit his brother. They'd go down the street and they'd have Whataburger, and that would be how they would spend their time growing up. So I'm happy for him. It's awesome. Again, he's making all the right moves career-wise outside of football, right? He's now partnered with something else. He's got another place where he's invested in, and that'll last him and his family a lifetime. So excited for the Kansas City area, and excited and proud that he is a Texan and showing that Texas pride by bringing Whataburger to Kansas City.
Very, very cool. Now, I wonder, though, I mean, I know you got to, like, build you got to acquire the land, you got to build the building, you got to do all the installs you need to do, you got to hire a staff. But 2022, you would hope that Whataburger could fast-track one Whataburger
For the season?
For Patrick Mahomes. It's like, hey,
yeah.
This is for Patrick Mahomes. Can we, like, work day and night around the clock?
I would maybe guess it's a COVID thing. You know, restaurants are having such a hard time staffing that maybe they're hoping that by 2022 things will pick up a little bit more, and they won't, because you know what would happen if they did build it and then they're paying for all of this and there's nobody there to work it. I mean, every food place I go to has a now hiring sign, even the Whataburgers. So that'd be my guess. And also, I don't know how long this deal has been in the works, but I would agree. If they could, they should. And as you so perfectly have today, if you build it, he will come. If you build a Whataburger, people will show up. That's just, we don't even need to see data on that. That's something we all know to be true.
Although I do remember this when I lived in Southern California. I grew, Patrick Mahomes grew up eating Whataburger, as did I. But I also grew up going to Taco Cabana, and it was
Yes, Taco C.
Yeah, and it was founded in San Antonio. And I mean, I ate at Taco Cabana when I was in high school. They had one like really close to where I lived, and not far from Holmes High School. It was on Bandera Road in Wurzbach. But so anyway, when I was in Southern California, a few years in, all of a sudden, and I don't know what the deal was to bring it there. All of a sudden, Taco Cabanas started popping up in the Los Angeles area in Southern California. We're like, oh my God, a taste of heaven, a taste of home. However, it didn't taste exactly the same. Like you'd order up a taco, normally you'd get like a bean and cheese taco. They throw like lettuce and tomato on it. It's like, hey man, we don't, unless you want to do it yourself, that's not what a bean and cheese taco is supposed to taste like.
Yeah, it's literally in the name, bean and cheese.
Thank you.
What is this? What is everything else?
I didn't ask you to throw lettuce and tomato on my bean and cheese Taco Cabana taco. So hopefully, and I trust, there will be consistency.
I think so.
Like the Dunkin' coffee.
Yeah.
There will be consistency in the Whataburger in Kansas City. And
Yeah.
Tastes just like a Texas Whataburger.
Yeah, someone's making fun of me for saying Taco C. Listen, that's what us band kids called it, because that would be, we'd go and we'd play the football games on Friday nights, and then the band kids would hit up Taco C because it was the only place open, and it's the only place the band parents would let us go to. So that's what Taco C.
In San Antonio, they do say
just TC.
Let's go to, if someone said, hey, let's go to TC.
I mean, I'm fine with that. That's shorter. That's cool. Chris, have you tried the Pico de Gallo burger from Whataburger? Because that's like the current special right now, and it's so good.
I looked at my app.
So good.
I got the Whataburger app. I have a free Pico. I think I've got until August. This might be the day. Actually.
Do it. Oh my gosh. Don't miss out.
Okay. So
if it's going away, I need to get one more.
I might do that right after the show, actually.
It's.
What is so? I mean, to me, it's like, all right, it's a Whataburger, and they put the Gallo on it. What's so great about it?
They put a special sauce on there that I think is also limited time. So it's not, because, a lot of Whataburgers, like the great thing about Whataburgers, you can construct whatever you want, right? So something that may not necessarily be in season as just like you order it as a name and then it comes that way, you can typically create kind of whatever you want. But I think the season, like the sauce they use on it is specific to this time of year. So get to it, man. Yeah, I need to check. I need to make sure they're not leaving us, because I think it showed up in May and I had one like immediately. Oh, so good.
You must have the Whataburger app, right?
No, I have so many like food apps. I try not to have food apps because then it becomes too easy to get that kind of stuff all the time. I'm trying to like eat at home more and whatever.
It's just like your points. August, I just looked it up. The Pico de Gallo burger, I've got until August 15th.
Okay. See, Whataburger is fantastic and I love it so much, but I'm a party of one and all of their items are just so large. Even when I get a junior Whataburger, it's still huge. And then you add fries to it. I have to plan. Like, that is the meal for the day if I go to Whataburger. It's like putting, like, you talk about having a food baby. Yeah. You just go to Whataburger and there's your food baby.
I wonder, Patrick Mahomes is so universal and he's so liked and he's so Texas, even though he plays for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes.
I wonder now with this story about him bringing Whataburger to Kansas City, I and I know it's not the way you think about how Whataburger does its ads and its ad campaign.
Yeah.
And they don't use a celebrity, but if you've got Patrick Mahomes on board, loving your product, and now be an investor in your product and your company in Kansas City, why do you not somehow make just a few? Have your regular advertising campaign with the commercials that work.
Mahomes commercials.
I thought about this morning because when the article referencing this, partnership, they had a tweet of his from a while ago, and he had retweeted a picture from Whataburger's Twitter that had the ketchup in it. And as we know, Patrick Mahomes loves ketchup. He was ridiculed for putting ketchup on a steak, but then he got to deal with Heinz out of it.
Yes.
And I don't know how long that deal is, but I wonder if that's maybe a conflict of interest because Whataburger, I mean, as much as they're known for their burger, the ketchup,
yes,
both spicy and original, are huge to that brand. And I wonder if maybe, I don't know, if the Heinz deals run out, I mean, you got to go all in now.
Yes. Well, and if, Patrick Mahomes, with having the Mahomes money that he has, he needs to now renounce his Heinz ketchup deal. And I agree with you. Go all in on Whataburger.
Yep. It was good. It was fun, but the Whataburger, I mean, yeah.
In fact, he should lead. There should be some commercials for the Whataburger ketchup with Patrick Mahomes. I know it would be an in-your-face Heinz.
They need a steak burger just for Patrick Mahomes.
Oh my God!
Ketchup. Just bun, ketchup, and steak.
I swear to God, we're going to get back to sports in a second. But since you brought up steak burger, back in the 70s. Whataburger had a thing called the Jack in the Box. And I know Jack in the Box doesn't have the best reputation in the world, but they had something called the Jack Steak. It was a steak burger. It was like, it looked like a Subway sub. It was that kind of a bun, an elongated bun with some, I mean, God knows what that meat was, but it was good. It had a great sauce. I mean, as a kid in the 70s going to high school, I liked it a lot. But it was called a Jack Steak. So anybody as old as I am, like Hector Gomez on our live video feed, might have had a few Jack Steaks back in the 1970s. But I am a big fan of, yes, do the steak burger. And they should just roll out some Patrick Mahomes specific Whataburger, item.
Yeah.
Steak burger.
Papa John's did that with Peyton Manning because he owned a bunch of Papa John's. And they put him in the commercial.
That's right.
Yeah. Now it's Jack.
Yeah.
Peyton got out of there real fast.
A whole lot of drama too.
True, yeah. Yeah, he stepped into it a few times. So, all right, I swear to God, we'll.
You're back into sports. We'll do it right now. Baylor University. We'll talk. I know we're getting close to the top of the hour. Baylor University. It was so weird that they get put on probation by the NCAA yesterday, but it wasn't necessary. It wasn't directly related to the Art Briles scandals and the sexual assault allegations. I mean, it came out of the overall investigation, but it was improper recruiting practices involving a female hostess group and NCAA infractions like that. My God, this Baylor program, and I know this goes way back, and they're just trying to clean that program up, and maybe they have by now, and maybe this probation won't have a big effect because they've cleaned up the program, but just another to be in the news again like this for something like this for Baylor, just not a good look.
It's going to be a cloud that hangs over them for a while, but the fact that they next to that got off pretty scot-free. I mean, a $5,000 fine to a university. What is that? What is that? I mean, that's changed to them. And then these recruiting, restrictions that basically limit the number of recruits and campus visits that they can host each year. I mean, that's also next to nothing. When it's not like that would hurt maybe in Alabama or Texas, right? Who are just constantly bringing recruits in week in and week out. But something like that they're already kind of on the smaller side as far as numbers coming in for those kinds of things. I can't believe that the ruling was, yes, they were unethical. Yes, they did these things that are not great and normal people would never do. But technically, those aren't rules that were written into the NCAA. So we can't technically do it. Like, who in the world? These things, yes, they're not rule because there's got to be something in there that's like, hey, if you commit a felony, rape,
there was no NCAA rule against
drugs, harassment that you should be punished for. And the fact that there's also a statement from like the lawyer of Art Briles about how he's ready to get back into college football. He's been exonerated, but no, you didn't. There are text messages in which you are trying to cover up things for your players on all of those accounts. idiots, just idiots. I can't believe it. I'm so mad. I'm not saying like, oh, I wish they, had bowl games taken away from them or wins taken away from them or those good seasons they had vacated, whatever. But the fact that this is the next thing we need to hear is we are now changing these NCAA rules to make sure that, God forbid, something like this happens again, that a school is rightfully punished, because the fact that we're getting around this because technically they're not rules. Ridiculous.
Lots more coming up. She's Shannon Salty Sweeney. I'm Chris, with you till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. Woo! That's so loud. Good morning, Beth Settle. Welcome in. You're up early this morning. Robert Almarez, welcome in. Chris Gonzalez. Lucinda Sullivan with the sunshine coffee emoji. Foamfoot 420, who people on Facebook can't see because Foamfoot's joining us on YouTube with a coffee emoji. Yeah, I don't know why my sound goes away. It must be I'm gonna press my mic down. Apparently on the live stream now, my sound only goes over if my mic is on for some reason. As soon as when we go to break, they don't hear me. My mic button engaged. Green light, mic on. When my mic is not on, so during a segment, I have my mic on so they can hear me. During the break, if I want to talk on the live stream, I have to have my mic engaged. It is not. No. Well, ever since yesterday, there's a new screen that I see, which is essentially the administrator's screen that Shannon has always had, and all the wiring, everything's been different, and so now they don't hear me unless my mic is on. So, bottom line, during the breaks, I think you do it anyway. Just take me down. Okay. Okay. My theory now is that, and this is a little technical, and you may not be able to visualize it. I turn on my mic for the segment. For some reason now, that seems to be wired into this video feed to where I have to turn on my mic during the breaks to be heard on this.
Chris, I sent you a private message. I think I have a working theory. You don't hear me?
Now I can't hear you unless I turn my mic off because it kills sound.
Oh,
so I have to turn
yeah.
it off to hear you.
I sent a private message of possible theories, and I've also sent an email. Basically, we need to return to our factory settings, and we don't know what they changed to get us there.
That's amazing. Yeah, this is so weird, but I will try to remember until hopefully we get this solved to turn on my mic whenever I'm going to talk on Facebook Live. Yep, John Williams, we know. So weird. Hey, Robert, I don't know if you can hear me now because I know there's some audio issues, but I see what you just posted. So, my goodness, just thoughts and a lot of love and prayers and respect for you and your family today out there at Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery. I know that's my goodness, what a day that's going to be for you guys. And God bless your mom and your dad. Thank you, Anthony Del Toro. Yeah. Foam Foot, I think Gonzo is no longer in the building. That's going to be so much fun tonight. Brush them away with their fingers. I've seen that movie at least 100 times. I still have the VHS. I've got every time they come out, 20th anniversary, 25th anniversary DVD. I am there, and I cry every single time at the end.
Every single time, and I get watery eyed.
Yeah.
Goosebumps.
Yeah. I mean, every single time. It is absolute brilliance. Have you seen the Twitter video of Kevin Costner walking out onto the field? Yeah.
I don't know if I have.
Come here for a moment. I'll show. I don't know that I can get
I
it.
watched the 25th anniversary thing they had with Bob Costas and the cast of the movie.
Yeah.
I've seen that a couple of times.
I don't know if this will give us audio, but anyway, Costner is just him walking out onto the newly constructed field.
Yep.
I know.
I've seen the field. I've seen the newly constructed stadium here that they built.
Yeah.
Seating about 8,000.
I can't get audio.
No, that's fine.
And all he just says is it's perfect.
Yes.
He just. It's going to be amazing.
Because James Earl was just unbelievable. No, it's better than that. It's perfect.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, sir.
That's amazing. I hope we talked about this. I hope they make it an annual
I hope they do too.
thing. I mean, I think it's a win-win for it. I think it's good for baseball. It's good for the fans. It is obviously great for Dyersville, Iowa, and the site.
Well, I told my wife beginning at 5 today I'm watching because it's a full hour of pregame coverage.
Is it an hour? See, I thought it was 30. That's
It's on
great.
at 5. It's on at 5.
Okay.
The game starts at 6, 6:05, whatever.
Yeah.
So
That's tremendous.
I think I mentioned this to you when you had me on one time last year talking about this movie. I don't know that they will do it because I haven't seen every dimension of the ball field. But it would be cool is if they had a gate open in the field and the players come in from the corner.
Absolutely.
That would be really,
Yes.
really good.
That is brilliant. Let's hope they do that. That's so cool. Yeah, I'm not sure where Gonzo went. But he was tremendous. I hate to see him go.
Now, Chris Duel.
If you build it, he will come. Field of Dreams tonight, the big game. I was just David Munoz, who's a big baseball fan from down the hall. We've had him on the show before. He's the jazz man in San Antonio, among other things, but a big baseball fan and a big New York Yankees fan, which he explained to me. It's like a family thing. So there are ties to the New York Yankees. I usually, if someone's from Texas and can be either an Astros and or a Rangers fan, and they tell me they're a Yankees or a Red Sox or a Dodgers fan, Shannon, normally I give them a hard time, and rightfully so, unless they've got a really good reason. Like your dad grew up in New York and he was a New York Yankees fan. It's something like that with David. But apparently, according to David Munoz, there's a 1 hour pregame tonight for the Field of Dreams game. First pitch at 6:15, and he says pregame starts at 5 on Fox. I did not know that. So it's going to be a big deal tonight. And Shannon, I totally agree with you. This needs to be an annual thing. And I have a feeling, unless something goes really wrong tonight in Dyersville, Iowa, I got a feeling it's going to be an annual thing. It's a win-win for everybody. It's, I mean, why else would all of us be tuning in? And I realize it'll never be like the first time again after tonight. But a lot of people who would not tune in tonight to baseball, including me, will be tuning in to watch. And I'm an Astros fan, and I'm going to watch Yankees White Sox tonight because it's going to be remarkable, because it's going to be on the Field of Dreams field. And I think if they did this annually after this year and rotated teams, as you said, Shannon, good for baseball, good for the fans. Obviously, it's good for Dyersville, Iowa. I'm sure Major League Baseball could partner with them, and I'm sure there's lots of money to be made by lots of people by doing this.
Well, and this was going to take place last year,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So the fact that people are still just as interested. It hasn't seemed to lost any lust from last year when it got canceled. So I'm hoping they pull it off and that it looks every bit the part that everyone wants it to be. I'm sure there will be some people on social media who are, well, with the bleachers there, it doesn't look, well, no, duh. I mean, we had to modernize it a little bit.
Yeah.
And like you said, both the Yankees and the White Sox are playing well this season. So hopefully it does end up being just a good product on the field of play to make it that much more of a reason to bring teams in each year. I don't know how they would decide ahead of time.
Yeah.
What teams?
Maybe you just rotate, or maybe it's a great question, but you just from the pool of teams, I guess you eliminate Yankees and White Sox.
Yeah.
Start selecting from the pool of teams, or maybe
like a World Series rematch kind of thing from the year before.
See, that's a great idea.
I mean, I know it's baseball and they obviously play each other a ton, but I don't know.
But for those World Series teams to know that you're going to be in Iowa in August of next year playing on the field of Kings Field, I like that a lot. I love the rematch of the World Series idea a lot. I think that's tremendous.
I should be in marketing.
Yes, you should. You should. All right, we got to talk a little bit about Dak Prescott.
Oh gosh.
Dak Prescott, Shannon, as you know, and I know you put this in the show notes, so you certainly want to talk about it as well. Getting an MRI on his shoulder, and the Cowboys are saying, "Oh, nothing to worry about here.
Yeah.
This is routine."
Mm-hmm.
Really? Every year, do NFL teams around the league get an MRI on the shoulder of their quarterback on August 12th during training camp? It's kind of a rare event. I think this is very concerning for Cowboys fans.
The tweet the Cowboys sent out yesterday evening, 7:06 p.m., with the link to the story on Dak getting another MRI on his shoulder, says it's not a setback and it's not a reason to worry, but QB Dak Prescott is planning on getting another MRI. And part of me is like, it's not a big deal. They're on Hard Knocks. They want all the attention. This is totally just a ploy to get more people to tune in because we want to know, because as Hard Knocks ended last week or this week's episode on Tuesday night with him starting to get reps and starting to ease him back into throwing and doing those kinds of things. And so now it's okay. Well, what now? What are we doing now? He's going to get an MRI. I do not feel good about this. And I know it says he's still eyeing that September 9th game. Of course, that's against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I don't feel good, Chris. I am worried. I know they said not to worry, but anytime anyone says, hey, listen, don't worry, but okay, that person's going to worry.
Yeah.
That person's going to worry. I don't care what the situation is. You throw a but in there. It's whatever you just said no longer matters. That's irrelevant.
And Dak Prescott, up until the catastrophic injury last year, has been very durable. And one of my concerns is, athletes who wind up becoming injury prone at whatever level, on the college level or on the pro level. They want, there are certain athletes that athlete is injury prone. It's like Kawhi Leonard now is kind of injury prone. He's had a number of significant injuries that have caused him, some of his own doing, we believe, certainly with that Spurs fiasco with Kawhi Leonard. But wherever you are, before that player was injury prone, throughout however long they've been in sports, middle school, high school, college, and even Kawhi Leonard up until that year when he kind of wigged out on the Spurs. What year was that? 2018? Something like that. Up until that point, Kawhi Leonard was never known as injury prone. My point is, one of my fears is this may be a new normal for Dak Prescott. Maybe we're going to start seeing Dak Prescott become a little injury prone. And you've got to wonder as well, Shannon, coming off the ankle surgery, and surprise, and we found out and we talked about it yesterday on Hard Knocks, we learned, and most of the world did not know, that Dak Prescott had a second surgery on that ankle. But it would seem to me also common sense that as a quarterback coming off a double ankle catastrophic injury surgery, that your throwing motion is going to alter somewhat. Probably you're probably going to like ease up on the ankle a little bit.
Yep.
And when you throw a ball, certainly on a professional level, your entire body is involved in the throw.
Mhm.
And certainly your shoulder, your arm, your rotator cuff, all of that, if it's altered, if it's done differently than you've been doing your whole life as a quarterback, then different muscles are going to be used and different problems might arise.
Mhm.
In a weird way, whatever this MRI is for, this might be, you connect the dots to that ankle injury because he's altered his throwing motion. Even if it was very, very minuscule and subtle, it could have an effect. I obviously we don't know, but it is something to consider.
Yeah. And he's getting, he's on a pitch count. He's not even throwing at full strength. And again, that's part of, you think, oh, he's got a leg injury. Well, why can't he throw? Well, like you just mentioned, it's a full body. How often do we look at the dropbacks for quarterbacks and, oh, that guy throws off of his back leg, and what that, a lot of that power comes from the feet up, right? And so he wasn't throwing while he was hurt, and so not only is he having to get back to that, but he's having to kind of reteach himself, and maybe that ankle does feel different, and so things throughout the body are feeling different when he goes to make that throwing motion. A lot of things can be said. He told the media he's not worried about it. He's going to be ready to go starting the 9th, and that by that point, all these injuries and all that stuff, that's going to be behind him. It'll only be about going forward. And that is all fantastic to say and trying to make people not worry. But it's about what you do on the field, and you got to get on the field first. And right now, I think that's the scare for Cowboys fans is, are we going to have Dak Prescott, and are we going to have full strength Dak Prescott?
Well, and think about this, Shannon. You would probably want to limit Dak's reps, in training camp and in preseason games and the answer may be no playing in preseason because they want to get him ready for opening night. But guess who you're facing on opening night? That Tampa Bay defense that gave Patrick Mahomes fits, that had Patrick Mahomes
everywhere
running for his life. What's going to happen? Is Dak Prescott going to run? Is he going to improvise like a Mahomes back there on that repaired ankle? Or is he going to take extra moments in the backfield and therefore get hit because that defensive pass rush is going to be coming from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Or is he, with that pass rush coming at him and less prone to scramble, is he going to throw the ball early? And if he throws the ball early, might those throws be inaccurate, and might he get picked off more than usual on opening night against the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
But remember, Chris, the Dallas Cowboys told us not to worry.
Oh, God.
That it's nothing to worry about.
And you look at this Cowboys franchise, we talked about Jerry Jones getting emotional, and you look at how star-crossed they have been, pretty much ever since Jimmy Johnson left. And yes, I know they won a Super Bowl and went to 2 NFC championship games under Barry Switzer, but we've had that discussion, and that was with Jimmy's dudes, the dudes that were recruited and scouted and adopted onto that football team by Jimmy Johnson. You look away from that and you look at, even the Tony Romo era, as exciting as it was and as fun as it was, and we all love Tony Romo and we love him now. This Cowboys team kind of has been cursed. You talk about the curse of the Bambino in baseball. Maybe it's the curse of blowing out Jimmy Johnson. It's the pre-Romo era, we had all kinds of, we had Quincy Carter and Chad Hutchinson and god-awful quarterbacks. Then you had the Romo era, and Romo was pretty darn amazing, but still, made the bad turnover typically in crunch time when the game was on the line. You wonder now if, and we're moving into year number 2 since last year's injury, if now the Cowboys are cursed by what might become recurring injuries to Dak Prescott. Hopefully not. Hopefully, as the Cowboys suggest, nothing to see here, nothing to worry about. Hopefully, Dak's going to be back at full strength, and that offense is going to be a pinball machine scoring 35 points a game. But I must tell you, Shannon, at this moment, at 7:18 in the morning on Thursday, August 12th, with Dak having an MRI on the shoulder, I am a bit concerned.
To make myself feel better, because it's all about me.
Exactly.
I they're going back to Dallas, right? They're leaving Oxnard. They're going back to Dallas. I would maybe think that that's just them wanting a second opinion to cover their bases.
Man, oh man, oh man.
That's what I have to do as a Cowboys fan to feel good going into the season. With all, and again, maybe we're lucky we have Hard Knocks because we will maybe get advanced warning. A lot of guys wait to say he's a go, he's a no-go till right before kickoff, and maybe we'll get advanced warning if he's not ready. A little bit more insight as to who we have stepping in for him should he not be ready. Garrett Gilbert.
It looks like Garrett Gilbert. Yeah.
But should this continue, maybe the Cowboys start looking more seriously elsewhere for a veteran type guy, especially with the rest of the preseason getting underway. They'll be able to see, guys, third stringer, second stringers who maybe don't stick around their current team. And, gosh darn it, Cowboys, can I just have 1 year filled with hope that isn't completely shattered before the season even gets started?
Yes. And we're getting somebody telling us on the live video stream, Nick Foles. We saw Nick Foles out there lobbying, seeming to certainly lobby for the Indianapolis Colts job after it looked like Carson Wentz. And that's a whole nother story. He was on the sideline yesterday, but looking very interested in Indianapolis Colts training camp. But I think it should be a Nick Foles. You brought up RG3, even though he's retired and moving on to ESPN, but says he'd be open. Another guy in the news, apparently getting an ESPN gig as well, is Alex Smith. That's a guy you brought up months ago, Shannon, and on your wish list for Cowboys backup quarterbacks.
Yeah, and Nick Foles, I think, is the best option as far as what he can do for your team. I just don't know what the cap space looks like because he still has that giant Jacksonville contract attached to him. And we just kind of gave Dak a lot of money.
But if you're Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, and I mean, here we sit on August 12th with concerns about the health of Dak Prescott. You've got that great offense. When the offensive line is healthy, and we're hearing that Tyron Smith is looking healthy and good thus far in training camp and the other offensive linemen, you've got such talent at wide receiver and at running back. I believe you owe it to yourselves, to the franchise, to the fans, to have somebody more experienced and more talented at backup quarterback than Garrett Gilbert. I mean, then you go further down the depth chart to Cooper Rush and Ben DiNucci, and it's like, oh my God, these guys would not be stars in the XFL like Garrett Gilbert was. But I just think the Cowboys are not doing their due diligence at quarterback. I often go back with you, Shannon, to when Drew Brees went down 2 years ago for the Saints and they had Teddy Bridgewater there. That was just smart. That was Sean Payton being smart as a coach, and certainly that organization realizing rarely does a quarterback get through a 16, now a 17 game regular season unscathed and not having to miss at least a few plays or a few quarters or a few games. And a guy like a Teddy Bridgewater, who was a starter and was a highly touted quarterback in the NFL, he was available to the Saints, so the Saints got him as a backup. There should be you bring up the contract of Nick Foles, but that guy is sitting there as a third string quarterback. If there's any way to acquire him or someone like him who is an upgrade from Garrett Gilbert, should there be an issue with Dak Prescott, and there may be one now that we don't even know about, that's something the Cowboys should be doing.
It blows my mind that more teams don't have that contingency plan when it comes to a backup in the NFL, because we know just how far the drop off is as far as wins and losses go throughout a season should you lose your starter. And from the Cowboys, Jerry Jones, first presser, I will do anything it takes to win a Super. I will do whatever. He cried over it.
Yes.
Well, now you're in this moment. You need to be doing whatever it takes to get a Nick Foles, to maybe convince Colt McCoy to go ahead and just leave Arizona. I mean, hey, look, they pranked you. They made you give Kyler Murray birthday wishes, not realizing it was for Kyler Murray. You even told him to hook him horns because we told you his name was Buddy and that he was a budding quarterback. You shouldn't hang out with them because they did that to you. Come hang out with us in your home state. Like whatever it is they need to do, whatever game they need to play to bring somebody in to make Cowboys Nation and that team feel more because you got to imagine too, like it's not just the drop off of the quarterback to the second stringer. It's the whole team and the mindset that shifts when that happens. Is our season over? Are we going to be able to even win one game? What are we going to have to do changing our style of play to better protect this guy who doesn't know what he's doing? And you mentioned Ben DiNucci and Cooper Rush. Those are guys that shouldn't even be on the roster as is for preseason. We've seen enough.
Totally agree.
Get somebody else in there. I don't care if they're an undrafted free agent from this last draft. Bring them in. See if they can do anything better. Do something. And for Jerry Jones to sit there and cry, and we've now seen it twice. We saw it firsthand, and then we saw it again on Hard Knocks. He will do anything. Okay, prove that to me. Do something.
Yeah. And yet, I look back at last year, and on paper, it seemed like they had a great contingency plan in Andy Dalton. I mean, he fit everything up that I talk about. What you needed in a backup is a guy who is an NFL veteran, who has started a lot of football games, read a lot of defenses in game action, and yet, and granted, Andy Dalton at one point had a COVID battle in the middle of the season. Luck. So maybe So maybe that was part of why he was. Yeah. So, and a guy who always intrigues me, and he hasn't done anything yet in the NFL, but he came into the NFL with a lot of juice and a lot of sizzle, and just then kind of fizzled, and he's bounced around to a lot of teams. The chosen one, Josh Rosen. And I had to just Google him to see where he is these days. He's right now the third string quarterback with the 49ers. Yeah. So, but see, I would like to at least roll the dice on somebody like that. Yeah. In case he lives up to his potential, is a Josh Rosen an upgrade from a Garrett Gilbert? I don't know.
He's got a bit of an attitude thing for him because he still feels like he's the chosen Rosen and should certainly not be, let alone a third stringer or a backup. He should be a starter. And I don't know if that attitude is what you want.
Yeah.
When you're clearly this person who's going to be brought in, if they do something, is there to be the backup for Dak. There's no question about that.
Yeah, speaking of attitude and maybe a little bit of baggage, Anthony Del Toro on the live video stream reminding us Colin Kaepernick is still available.
He hasn't played in years.
I know.
No thanks.
Yeah.
Pass.
You know what though? I mean, you give me Garrett Gilbert or Colin Kaepernick has led an NFL team to a Super Bowl and darn near won it. A lot, but I'm just saying, many, many years ago. But can you imagine how a certain segment of Cowboy? I would like to, I feel bad for Kaepernick, and I've said it, and it's clear he's been blackballed by the NFL. But there's a certain segment of Cowboy fans, obviously, if they brought in Kaepernick, that would absolutely freak out. That's one of the reasons NFL teams. Yeah, Jerry does know
he's Mr. Marketing, and that's not gonna happen.
You'd sell a lot of Kaepernick jerseys to some people, though.
Yeah, sell out.
There would be a lot of jersey sales.
Limited edition jerseys.
And as we go to break, I guess I shouldn't even bring up Johnny Manziel, right, Shannon? That Johnny's out there.
I know the Cowboys love guys with drug problems, but he's not the one.
Nope, sadly. Johnny.
Gosh darn it, Chris.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to solve our backup quarterback issues.
Somebody's got to do it.
I am so
you
hard
and I
up.
are willing to do what it takes.
I am so hard up. I'm looking at Johnny Manziel. Johnny, you've thrown a football lately? No.
He's playing golf.
I'm partying though. Yeah. So, all right. Fine. Coming up, I have a feeling the salty shakedown will be extra salty today. I don't know. It's just a feeling. I do not know anything specifically to tell me that. It's just a gut feeling. Shannon's salty shakedown is coming right up. We'll also bring you this day in sports history, sports birthdays, and more. Dave Ayler is your soundscape stylist. I haven't even commented on his 2019 Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues t-shirt yet, but I'm sure I will. You can see that t-shirt on the live video stream. Lots more coming. We'll talk more Cowboys. We'll talk Houston Astros. We'll talk college football. We'll get back to the Field of Dreams game, which is tonight in Dyersville, Iowa, on the Cornfield Baseball Diamond from the movie Field of Dreams. She's Shannon Salty Sweeney. I'm Chris. We're with you till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. Woo! Jason, I like the Marcus Mariota idea. Woo! Woo! Oh! That is so loud. Let me know if the sound is back. Foamfoot 420. How about Drew Brees for a 1-year contract? You know, I don't know that he'd do that, but that would be a huge upgrade from Garrett Gilbert. I'm just saying. All right. How am I doing on beverage? Still doing the hand sanitizer because the Delta variant is real and it's more contagious. Oh, cool, Sam. So maybe we got lucky. Thank you, Foamfoot 420. Wes Perkins, Tony Romo on a one. Dude, that is outside the box thinking. If Romo had a chance with this offense to walk in the door at CBS and say, guys, you got to let me out of the contract for 1 year. I got to go do this. Oh, my God. Wes Perkins, I love that idea. I love it. I love it. I love it. Wow. I will bring that up on the air. I don't know. Foam Foot 420. I think that might be the winner idea. Yeah, there's one button that was not pushed. You know, I've got the program, the audition, the auxiliary. There's a button that says OL offline. That one was not pushed, and it normally is. So I hit it, and now apparently they're hearing me. So that, yeah. But apparently Jonas comes in here and Calvin Casey, and they completely change they move the camera to the other side. I know, I get it, but I'm looking at this thin wire on the camera, and it's being moved twice per day. I got a bad feeling over time for this camera. Yeah, I got a couple of minutes. Okay. All right. Thank you, Louisa. Wow. Chris Duel show with Shannon Salty Sweeney, moments away from the Throwback Thursday Field of Dreams Salty Shakedown. Before that, though, sports history and sports birthdays. But Shannon, I must tell you, if you've been reading the comments in the live feed, Wes Perkins, who called into the show yesterday, and I probably don't throw out the phone number enough, but we love taking your phone calls, and you're invited to join us on the phone lines anytime you feel like it at 800-707-9760, 800-707-9760. Before we went to break, Shannon, I'm so concerned about the MRI that is being performed to examine the shoulder of Dak Prescott today. Worst case scenario, what if we lose Dak to another injury this season? So I was even thinking Josh Rosen, the chosen Rosen, third string quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. I even, God forbid, brought up the name Johnny Manziel. I'm looking for any idea. Somebody said Colin Kaepernick. And then Wes Perkins mentions, Shannon, there's a guy who has a job on television at CBS, and they say he can throw the football really well. His name is Tony Romo. What about, Shannon, Tony Romo walks into let's say, if Dak has to go out for 9 games this year or the rest of the season, something's wrong with that shoulder that we didn't foresee. The MRI reveals it, and we're left with Garrett Gilbert at quarterback. What if Tony Romo walks into the CBS offices and goes, hey, I know I got a huge contract. I know you love me. I love you, but I got to do this. And Tony would always have a gig after this. How about it, Shannon? One last hurrah. Sign Tony Romo for a 1-year contract. Let him fulfill his destiny with this great offense. Lead them back to the Super Bowl. Tony Romo wins the Super Bowl as quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, rides off into the sunset. Everything is right once again with the world.
Never going to happen. It might sound easy to those that don't pay attention, but the clapper isn't there anymore. It's a completely different organization, completely different offense. Tony Romo, I don't know if you've seen him lately, because I know we typically don't get to see him from the waist down, but he has been hitting the golf course, and he is not in football shape, you guys. Okay? So just leave him where he is. He's perfect where he is. I love Tony Romo, the broadcaster. That's where he should stay.
Are you saying Tony Romo's fat? Are you saying he's fat from the waist down?
That. There's a difference between a regular person, not fat, and then NFL shape. Okay, we all know that. And he was never Mr. Ripped quarterback. Okay, he and Aaron Rodgers dad bod forever, and that is totally fine.
Ouch.
But he is not. No. I'm
just saying. All right, who's a better quarterback, Tony Romo or Garrett Gilbert?
That's not the argument here. The argument is
it's part of it.
Come in and play.
It's save this team if
right
Dak
now.
Can't
who's a better
go.
quarterback right now? Garrett Gilbert.
Oh God, we're doomed.
He knows the playbook.
We're doomed. I don't know. On the day that a baseball game is being played on the Field of Dreams field, I think maybe we should dream big.
Nope.
And think about Tony Romo.
That's a nightmare, sir.
Wow. What a story that would be. All right. I'm just Wes Perkins. I tried to sell Shannon on that idea. Hopefully Jerry and Stephen Jones would be a little bit more receptive than Shannon is. Coming up, Shannon's Salty Shakedown. Before that, though, let's update you on the sports birthdays and this day in sports history. August 12th. 1967, the New Orleans Saints played their first preseason game ever, and they won. They beat the St. Louis Cardinals 23-14. Things went a little south for many, many years after that opening preseason win for the brand new franchise, the New Orleans Saints. This day in 1974, the New York Yankees' Mickey Mantle and Whitey Ford become the first teammates inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown on the same day. It's kind of interesting. And finally, no, not finally. So I got one more after this. Almost finally. On this day in 2016, American star swimmer Katie Ledecky sets the world record dominating the women's 800-meter field at the Rio de Janeiro Olympics. With a medal tally, she leaves Rio with 4 golds and 1 silver, making her the most decorated U.S. female athlete at one Olympics. She did pretty good in Tokyo as well, Katie Ledecky. And finally, on this day in 2021, I know that's today, but history will be made tonight, so we may as well celebrate it 12 hours early. The New York Yankees and the Chicago White Sox play a game on the Field of Dreams field in Dyersville, Iowa. If you build it, they will come. That's this day in sports history, including today's big day in Field of Dreams history. How about some sports birthdays? Born on this day in 1969. He didn't have a big career, but those who saw him play for the Cowboys liked him. Running back Lincoln Coleman, number 44 for the Cowboys. Short career with the Cowboys, but impactful. He would also play for the Atlanta Falcons. Happy birthday, Lincoln Coleman. Born on this day in 1971, American tennis player Pete Sampras. 14 Grand Slam titles for Pete Sampras. Born on this day in Washington, D.C. Born on this day in 1977, Plaxico Burress, wide receiver, New York Giants, most known for shooting himself in the leg. See, exactly. Dave Ayler's doing the guns shooting with his fingers. The dude has a great career, but what does he do? He goes into a nightclub with a pistol in his pocket, and he wasn't very happy to see himself get shot in the leg by his own pistol. Way to go, Plaxico. Finally, born on this day in 1988, maybe one of the coolest names in sports, Tyson Fury. Was he born with the name Tyson Fury? If he was destined to be a boxer. British heavyweight professional boxer Tyson Fury, born this day in Manchester, England, on this day in 1988. That's your sports birthdays. That's your sports history. Do not suggest to her that Tony Romo should be brought back to the Dallas Cowboys because she'll get extra salty, and you've got your salt coming at you right now. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans, countrymen. It is time for your Throwback Thursday Field of Dreams Salty Shakedown.
The best way to make me feel better about the current Cowboys situation is to trash the Eagles.
Yes.
So that's what I'm going to do today. And you know what? The NFC, as much it is, the NFC is as much as it is a race to first every year. It's also kind of a race for last place as well, because these teams, for whatever reason, always seem to be so very close down to the last few weeks of the season as far as their win-loss records. And the Eagles, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to look like this year. You know, they've got quarterback questions themselves. They could very easily fall and be fourth in the division. I know that might sound like that's a long way from their Super Bowl victory just a few short years ago. But to my point, you know, they're doing karaoke during training camp. Okay. It's one thing when the rookies go up and sing. It's another when you have vets that are taking time away and going up there to do it. No matter how talented said vet may be during their annual rookie sing. Of course, their little hazing that they do with the rookies where they have to go up and sing a song. Offensive tackle in 2018, draftee Jordan Mailata went up and performed, and this is what it sounded like. Performing a little Chris Stapleton, Tennessee whiskey. That's all good and dandy, but sir, this is we're getting ready for the season, and this is what your man who has been with the Eagles since 2018, but has had a hard time staying healthy. This is supposedly going to be his year where he really stands out and does something for that team. But this is not what I want to see from my team if I'm an Eagles fan. I do not want to see that he's more talented of a singer than he is a football player. Sir, I'm glad we don't have these kinds of things coming out of the Cowboys.
Well, and, you know, it's often said about the Cowboys organization and training camp. It's like a country club. And that, you know, we talked about the Tony Romo era. And as soon as Bill Parcells left, word is Cowboys camp and being a Cowboys, it was like a country club. So, yeah, I agree, especially if the team is not doing what it's supposed to be doing. Then it's time to, you know, buckle down and buck up and take everything very, very seriously. So, yeah, I don't want to see any karaoke at Cowboy camp.
Yeah. Let's do the football. How about that? All right, moving on. So many guys end up in broadcasting after their professional careers. I mean, we just noted Alex Smith today, RG3 earlier this month, and now we've got J.R. Smith, but he's not making a move to broadcasting in his post-playing career. He is going to college, sir. Apparently, after a golf trip with Ray Allen, he kind of convinced him to end up going back to school. He wants to get his degree. Of course, J.R. Smith did not go to college. He went directly to the NBA from high school, and so technically he still has his eligibility, which is why he's petitioning the NCAA to let him join a collegiate athletic squad, specifically golf. He doesn't want to play basketball. He wants to play golf. The rules in the NCAA state that if you played something professionally, no, you cannot go back and play that at college, but you can play a different sport. So it looks like he may be joining a collegiate golf team. Chris, did you ever think you'd see the day, hey, that J.R. Smith, Mr. I'm always shirtless? Because I think in golf, I think that's rule number one. You must be appropriately dressed. I mean, we see the PGA. There are a lot of rules, what you can and cannot wear. That J.R. Smith would not only be enrolling in North Carolina A&T school, but he will be on the golf team. I didn't even know he golfed. The only videos I've seen of him golfing, I mean, A, he's not wearing a shirt, and B, he's just kind of having fun and kind of what's the big swing? I haven't seen that movie either, where they just gonna run up and swing at the ball, take your hit. No real refinery going in on his golf play.
I do like it. I do think it's kind of cool. I heard an interview with him where he said part of why he's going back to school, he wants to get an education. He wants to broaden his horizons, and I like, you know, let the man play golf. If the NCAA, I mean, the NCAA has done so many things wrong lately.
Yes.
If they say no, you can't, I think that would be just another reason for us to dislike the NCAA. Let the man play golf. Yeah. He didn't play, he was a basketball player. Play golf and surprise us, J.R. Smith. I hope it goes well for him.
Happy Gilmore. That's the swing I'm thinking of. But good for him. That's an awesome move, especially, we do see guys going to broadcasting, because I think they want to stay relevant, right? They want to be seen. They're used to being in the spotlight, and that gig typically comes with a lot of money. So good for him for going this route. And I'd love it if he joined that golf team. I think golf is really an exciting time right now. You have the rivalries going on. The PGA is finding themselves kind of in the main circle news more often. That doing something like this would only bring more attention to the game and for North Carolina A&T school. So that is fantastic. Way to go, J.R. Smith. Congratulations for getting into school. I hope they do allow you to play golf. And finally today, Chris, preseason does start, which means people are already betting, even though if they are just preseason games. But some people are already betting on who is going to the Super Bowl. And there's been one very specific and I believe outrageous bet that has been placed with DraftKings. And that is a bet for $2,751.03 on the Jets winning the AFC Championship and heading to the Super Bowl. And that's a big if, it happens, as the Jets are predicted to go 6-11. Their betting odds are plus 10,000 to go to the Super Bowl. That's third from the bottom out of all of the NFL teams. This person will get $209,078. Sorry, math and numbers. $209,078.28.
Wow,
that's a big bet to place. But sir, I don't think I'd bet $1 on the Jets to head to the Super Bowl.
No.
You know what you can get with $1? A lot.
Yeah. There's some dollar menus at some fast food joints. You can get something.
Do you have a theory on why this number was so specific?
That is, maybe the guy had a dream. That is a weird number.
I mean, is it everything that was in his bank account or something? And he's like, I'm going all in. I mean, they don't even they haven't even signed. What is it? Zach Wilson?
Yeah.
They haven't even signed him yet.
I didn't know that. So
they're still working on his contract.
Is he throwing the ball at training camp?
I think so, but
okay.
You seem out of your mind. I'm sorry. And
yeah.
I know that yes, you could get a payday, but you're not going to. So again, I would have never bet $1 on this. I would rather bet $1 on my Cowboys. I don't know what that payout looks like right now, but get in while the getting's good, I guess. I can't imagine that the Jets are going to prove you right here, sir, but I'm hoping you don't need that money in your life, because I don't think you'll ever see it again. There it is. Today's Salty Shakedown.
Spectacular Salty Shakedown. I guess the only worst bet for a Super Bowl would be the Houston Texans. I mean, I'm trying to think of the worst team in the NFL, and perhaps it will be the Houston Texans.
I mean, we got the roster and the depth chart the other day, and fourth string quarterback, Deshaun Watson.
My goodness. Yeah, that is such a strange situation for the Houston Texans. But yeah, I guess you got a dream and you lay down that bet, and if you got it right. But no, man, I can't. Somebody has to interview that guy and get to the real reason. What made you bet this money and the significant amount of money and the strange amount of money on the New York Jets going to the Super Bowl?
I do have an update. I want to correct myself. Zach Wilson, late July. So recently, a 4-year, $35 million rookie contract. So maybe that's where it comes from. Maybe he's like, all right, Zach Wilson's locked in. I believe in everything I have that Zach Wilson will shock the world and take the Jets to win an AFC title and go to the Super Bowl. He's not betting they'll win the Super Bowl.
Right.
That they'll get there.
I'm trying to think. I wonder if I know Dan Marino as a rookie, I do believe, took the Dolphins to a Super Bowl where they were annihilated by the San Francisco 49ers. I think, and I'm just thinking off the top of my head now at 7:53 in the morning, so maybe the caffeine needs to kick in better. I don't think another rookie quarterback has led a team to this, although we thought Dak was going to do it his rookie year.
Oh, yeah.
Until Aaron Rodgers came to town, but
I'll never forget that throw down the sideline.
Oh, I hate you, Aaron Rodgers. I do. I'm sorry. It's sports hate. I don't really hate Aaron Rodgers, but I'm just saying. All right. Coming up, lots more to talk about from the world of sports. Lots of stuff we still have to get to. We'll talk a little NFL preseason. We got to talk about Jason Kidd. What a great guy this is, Jason Kidd. He was in the news. He was trending on Twitter and across social media yesterday. A subject in Giannis Antetokounmpo's new biography is Jason Kidd, and it doesn't look pretty. Isn't he the coach of your Mavericks now?
You know what? That's interesting you bring that up, Chris.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. We'll get your thoughts on your beloved Jason Kidd coming up. And a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Lots coming up. Aldon Smith, not a good day for him yesterday with the Seahawks. Former Cowboy Aldon Smith, who looked so good for an instant last year for the Cowboys. He's looking for a gig. Wonder if Jerry will open the door for him again. Lots more coming. She is Shannon, Salty, Sweeney, Dave Ayler making the show go. With you till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. Woo! So you're telling me Mark Brunell. I see that on I don't think so. There you go, Jason. Thank you. Made, but not kind of the Super Bowl. Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco, Mark Sanchez. Interesting. Well, I just Wikipedia'd Brunell as a rookie. He was a Packer. So he didn't go to Jacksonville till after he was with Green Bay for a couple of years. All right. Woo! Woo! Oh, I've got to edit something. Let me see this. There it is. It's live. Okay. Delete. Do that.
Chris, I think I got the story of the day here.
Beautiful.
Apparently, Dustin Diamond is getting a NASCAR tribute in a car with a wrap that looks like Saved by the Bell. The driver's suit, like Saved by the Bell theme. Apparently, I guess he was a big NASCAR guy. Screech is getting his own car.
Wow. All right. Let's talk about that. Yeah, Dean Stone, I'm the same way. Hey, Walter Pasacreta. Walter, it was very, very cool, man. You know, it's amazing. You know, I've been seeing the Hall of Fame and that game and those busts in the hall, you know, since I was a kid. So to go there after, seeing it for decades on TV. It was kind of surreal, but a lot of fun. So, Walter, you're going to watch the Field of Dreams game tonight? I know it's the Yankees and not your New York Mets in it, but it will be baseball history. Let's see what else I had here. Here we go. Woo! Woo! Boom! Me too, Walter. Yeah, not just my favorite sports movie, it's my favorite movie, period.
Now, Chris Duel.
It is Throwback Thursday, and how appropriate that Throwback Thursday is the day of the week that Major League Baseball has chosen to play the Field of Dreams game tonight in Dyersville, Iowa, on the baseball field at the site of the movie Field of Dreams. That movie came out in 1989, so that was shot, I believe, the previous summer in 1988. There's a cool, and I retweeted it, there's a cool video that Major League Baseball put out where Kevin Costner is walking onto the field for the first time, Shannon, where, with the bleachers out there. And as you mentioned, there's going to be some people, because we live in the era of social media and people have to complain about something, or, hey, it's just not the same with the bleachers out there. It doesn't look like it did in the movie. Well, you had to have like some people, had to put some bleachers up. But it's kind of cool, though. And what's interesting, the line, if you build it, he will come. In the movie, it had a couple of connotations, originally thinking, okay, the he is shoeless Joe Jackson. As you find out in the movie, though, the main character, Ray Kinsella, played by Kevin Costner, it turns out the he will come, turns out to be his father, who had since passed away, which is so cool at the end of that movie. But
spoilers.
It came out in 1989. If you haven't seen it yet, you're probably never going to see it. But
True.
I do recommend it. But in this thing, it's like, if you build it, he will come has the meaning of Kevin Costner, the guy from the movie, the guy who was the lead in the movie. So they did build it. They built these bleachers around the ballpark, the baseball diamond, and here walking onto the field is Kevin Costner, and they just had like the camera moving around him 360 degrees, and he's blown away. He's almost speechless, and he says in the video, "It's perfect," which is also a line from the movie. So it's going to be very, very cool tonight, I do believe.
Yeah, I'm hoping we haven't passed all of the cool parts. Right, because there is so much anticipation going into this. It was postponed a year. Now we've got this awesome, hype video that I hope it lives up to everything people want it to be, and more, so that we maybe see more games like this in the future.
Yes, and not only is today, will this forever go down as Field of Dreams Day in baseball, the first time and perhaps the only time. We'll see how that plays out. We talked about it. Should this be an annual event that Major League Baseball plays a real Major League Baseball game on that field in Iowa? Dave Ayler has also told me, Shannon, today is World Elephant Day. And I think elephants are endangered species, aren't they? So we should probably pay attention to elephants. So
are we supposed to do something or just think about elephants, or just have to do with memory?
Wow, I don't know. The first World Elephant Day was in 2012 to bring attention to the urgent plight of Asian and African elephants. So yeah, I guess, I don't know. contribute to elephant organizations. I don't know. Today is also Julienne Fries Day. Julienne Fries is Dave Ayler. Can you define a Julienne? They're also called shoestring fries. Like Julienne, Whataburger has those are
exactly
Julienne fries.
That's a perfect example of Julienne fries.
Yeah, as opposed to like
how they're cut.
Yeah, as opposed to like real thick fries, or some have like
real thick,
the ridges in them. But no, Julienne fries are like shoestring.
No, because shoestring fries are like teeny tiny, like almost crunchy, non-stop.
Okay.
I'm not Whataburger in that category. I'm not a fan of the shoestring fry. I'll have nearly every other fry, but when you eat a crispy fry, it's like you don't even taste potato anymore.
Yeah, no.
You're just tasting crunch, which is just no thank you.
Do we agree? And I know there's a lot of debate on burgers, but do we generally agree that Whataburger has the best French fries out there? I mean, they're hard to beat. I would say
McDonald's, but
yeah. And I will, even though
Whataburger fries come with the ketchup.
Yes. And even though I'm an In-N-Out fan, the In-N-Out fries suck. I mean, the only way to have In-N-Out fries is you get the animal style where they throw some chili on there and some dressing. And then, and if you don't eat that immediately, they get hard and cardboard like quickly.
Yeah.
So In-N-Out, I love you and I love your burgers, but those, I don't know what you're thinking on those fries.
I have the same feeling towards P. Terry's fries. Shakes are bomb, burgers are bomb.
Mm-hmm.
The fries, I did forget about them. What's happening?
Well, and again, and so, we talked a little Whataburger earlier with Patrick Mahomes bringing Whataburger to Kansas City. But I mean, you got to admit, there are places where they do something really good, but then they do something not so good. At least the consistency of Whataburger pretty much across the board, they're very, very good. Finally, today, and Shannon, I know it doesn't apply to you, and it doesn't apply to me either, because I was the youngest of 5. You are a solo child, I believe. Today is Middle Child Day. Middle Child Day.
I'm an oldest child.
Are you an oldest and a youngest?
I'm the oldest and not the youngest.
You're the oldest and not the youngest.
There's another child.
Oh, see? That's right. I screwed that. You have brought up the other sibling before, so that's good.
No,
Dave Ayler.
Child.
Dave Ayler, what is how many kids in your family?
I'm the youngest. I have one older sister.
One older sister. So we're in the youngest category, you and me. Woo!
Oh, that's how it should be.
The youngest kids, I think, get away with more because there were more restrictions typically placed on the older. By the time the youngest kid arrives, the parents are like, yeah, all right, just whatever.
And I'm the youngest out of everybody in my family, the cousins, everybody.
Really?
So anytime they wanted grandma to buy him something at the store, they sent me to go ask him. Say, go tell grandma we want to go to the dime store to get something. And so they'd send me over.
The dime store.
Yeah, the dime store, yeah, like Woolworth.
See, have you ever heard of the term dime store before?
Is that like dollar store, but everything's a dime?
Kind of.
Oh
Way back in the day.
God.
That's what. No, but they used to call it when I was a kid too. The dime store. Yeah, go to the dime store. That would be like a Woolworths.
There are no Woolworths around anymore.
Yeah, the dime store.
We had a place in St. Louis called Ben Franklin, which is kind of the same thing.
Yeah, and Jason is saying TG&Y. That was kind of a dime store too. Woolworths, TG&Y.
Oh, they're just making things up at this point.
Yeah.
I don't believe any of this.
There was, Wins. Whoa, Wins. WINNS. Wins was a dime store. True.
There was a time when you could buy something for a dime.
Yeah. Walter Pasacreta on the live video feed is saying it originally came from the 5 and dime store. That was another term from a gazillion years ago, back when Field of Dreams, when the White Sox played in 1919. People would go to the 5. It's Throwback Thursday, people. So we throw it back sometimes. Let's throw back Shannon to Jason Kidd. Back when he was the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, there was a young player. And if Jason would have just been a decent coach and a decent human being, maybe he would have won a championship with young Giannis Antetokounmpo. But it did not work out for Jason Kidd. See, I thought that was yesterday. I take my obligatory nap. Yesterday, Shannon, and if I don't get my nap, I'm really cranky by the afternoon. So for the good of other human beings in my life, I try to get a nap because you don't want to deal with me if I don't get a nap. But So I wake up from my nap and I see Jason Kidd is trending. And I'm like, wow, hopefully nothing bad happened to Jason Kidd. And then I click on him, and Shannon, I'm sure you did as well. I know you know about this story. Kind of a Christmas Eve nightmare for Bucks players involving Mr. Jason Kidd.
You and I had the same day yesterday, I guess, because it's very much the same timeline I went through. And listen, I don't think anyone is surprised to learn that he is an intense guy. I think we've always known that about him throughout his playing career and then coaching career. But that doesn't mean he's a good guy. And I'm hoping he's changed from this excerpt. I believe it's from Giannis's upcoming autobiography.
Yes.
Where he talked about, just before Christmas, the Bucks lose a game, and Coach Kidd is not happy about it. He's asking how they feel, if they practice. All the guys are kind of being dramatic in their answer because they don't want to sound like, I think we should have it off, but also, they're trying to respect the fact that they lost a game that they probably should have won. Jason Garrett then tells them they've got practice on Christmas, and the guys are upset. They say we had flights.
Yeah, players made flight reservations to see family.
And one of their things was, Christmas, it's not about me getting the day off. It's about me, my family wants to spend time. It's about my family, it's about my kids, it's about my grandparents, whatever, significant others. And, he then denies them of that. Apparently, he runs them almost to death. The guy checks himself into the hospital afterwards because he is all kinds of messed up. He's berating guys.
He was a total jerk to the entire team on this Christmas practice that he forced upon them.
Was that his first head coaching gig, or had he already been with the Nets at that point?
I think he had been with the Nets. I'd have to Google that.
I don't know if it's something he was trying to prove, if that's just how he feels like. Maybe he had an experience like that as a player, that somehow in his mind he thought that would be okay. And I'm sure the Mavericks and the kid and Jason are working on some sort of statement or notes app apology that will get sometime later, hopefully today, because something needs to be said. And you can't treat your new team like this. I mean, they are now going to be coming into the season with this in mind. So you've got to address it, and you've got to address it not only to them, but to the fans, because you're trying to win over a fan base. You thought you already had the fan base, because here you are bringing in Jason Kidd, who won a championship with the Mavericks as a player. You're thinking, he's making his return. Now he's going to be our coach. We're going to go win another championship. We've got Luka locked down for all of these years. It's going to be wonderful. And now something like this comes out, and I just think it completely shifts the mood and perception of Kidd and what this team might be. Totally agree. And I just, as you said that, because depending on what time zone Jason Kidd might be in this morning, I went to Jason Kidd's Twitter account, which is @RealJasonKidd, and he has not tweeted since the 28th of July. So there's but I do agree. If I'm Jason Kidd, or if I'm Jason Kidd's agent, or if I'm Mark Cuban, I want to say to Jason Kidd, dude, you need to make a statement. Because this looks real bad. Given, just the past year, 2 years of all of the kind of unearthings that have come out of what's taken place in the Mavs front office, this kind of adds to it, because, it's not like they went and hired him based off of his record or his playing career or whatever. Typically, you go through an interview process and you even ask guys that he has coached before, hey, what was it like? What did you think of him? Why did he get fired? Why was he let go? And I don't know if this Christmas incident was a reason that led to his firing. It was probably more the overall win-loss and what the Bucks were looking like. But it's something that the Mavericks, who have already had issues with front office, need to address and need to, I don't know if they knew about this or not. And if they did, that's an even worse look to not kind of have that addressed ahead of time. Maybe they've addressed it with Kidd personally. But now that it's out there, you've got to do something. Yeah. And of course, Jason Kidd with previous domestic violence allegations. Somebody tweeted last night, it was funny, something along the lines of, wow, who knew that Jason Kidd would ever be mean and abusive? Yeah. Like, yeah. I mean, and that was something that was of concern when the Mavs gave him that job. And that was addressed, but this is something else now that's got to be addressed as well, especially when it's directly impacting players. Yeah. Well, and we had just 48 hours earlier
the Luka Doncic news that, you guys signed him to that big mega contract, which is great news if you're a Mavs fan. But so you think now with Jason Kidd, if the Mavericks stumble out of the gate, because here we are August 12th with a PR nightmare for Jason Kidd. And I agree with you, Shannon. This is going to follow him. This is, we love Giannis, and now and this book hasn't come out yet. So when the book does come out, this excerpt came out yesterday. So when the book does come out, I'm assuming within the next month or so, it's going to come out. There's going to be a second wave of this, where this will be a story again, and then when the NBA season starts, if the Mavericks stumble out of the gate, this is just one of the multiple reasons that I believe Mavericks fans and people who cover the Mavericks will heap more scorn on Jason Kidd. So, I mean, one way to shut people up is win. If the Mavericks come out and they win from the get-go and they're one of the top 4 teams in the Western Conference, this will mitigate a lot of the negative feelings toward Jason Kidd. But if it doesn't go that way, then they've got some problems.
For better, for worse, winning does change a lot. And you mentioned Giannis, obviously early in his career when Kidd was a coach and when this all took place. If he was the coach now and he tried to do that with a guy like Giannis, back-to-back MVP, now MVP of the finals and a finals champion, you can never do that to a LeBron. You can never do that to a Dwayne Wade. The big 3 on the Spurs, that would have never have happened. And I don't know what kind of, maybe little man syndrome he was having after that specific game, but there are very few teams where you could, I guess, get away with it in the way that he did. But to think that it would never come out and bite him in the butt, that's silly.
Well, and that's a huge point, because while I totally agree with you, you can't do this if you have a star on your team, just the way that the power in the NBA is among the players and not the coaches. And if a star player wants you gone, you're probably going to be gone. And I think what you might see play out here with Jason Kidd is if you do it to, I'm assuming most of the players on that team, I know Zaza Pachulia was listed as one of them. I think most of them were younger or lesser known players. If the story gets out, and as you say, it's now biting Jason Kidd in the butt for future free agents. I mean, if right now Dallas and Mark Cuban and Luka Doncic would like to attract free agent stars around the NBA to come to Dallas and win a championship with Luka. But if this is Jason Kidd's reputation, and if he doesn't somehow demonstrate in the eyes of NBA players and NBA free agents that he's this guy, that he's got to demonstrate he's a different guy. Mm-hmm. He's a guy who gets along with players and is a very good coach. Then who wants to go play for this guy? If I can make $13 million playing, in Chicago with the Bulls, or make the same amount of money and have to go play for Jason Kidd, who's a tyrant and a dictator and a jerk, it's like, no, thank you. I don't want to go play for that guy.
Well, there is a tweet from Jared Dudley, a former player. He said, Jason Kidd was a great coach in Milwaukee. This man single-handedly changed the culture. One of the biggest turnarounds from one year to the next in NBA history. I personally saw what he did for Middleton and Giannis. He laid the foundation for them winning the chip this year.
Okay.
But is that the way to go do it?
No, I don't believe it is. And this is a little weird, but I'll make this comparison. And in no way does this coach do the things Jason Kidd does. But Greg Popovich of the Spurs, I've always felt, and I think it's true, only a certain kind of a basketball player wants to go play for Greg Popovich, because when you play for him, it's kind of like you're going into the military. I think Pop will demand discipline for players that maybe other coaches won't, but I don't think people who play for Pop wind up saying he's a wonderful guy, we love him. He really cares about his players, whereas I think Jason Kidd, contrary to the reaction you just read, was just certainly in this instance being an absolute jerk. But if you want to go play for Greg Popovich, it's like, it's like, do I, certain people are cut out for the military. Do I want to be a Marine? Some people will say, yes, that's for me. I want that life. I want that discipline. I want an organization that's going to make me better than I was coming in. And certainly a military environment can do that. And that's kind of in a weird basketball way. You go play for Greg Popovich, Air Force Academy graduate. It's kind of like going into basketball military to play for Pop. Not everybody wants to do that. So I think it's a similar, although different, dynamic for Jason Kidd if this is kind of the way he coaches.
I mean, but at the same time, there's a difference between discipline and not
abuse.
Not using excuses, and abuse and overuse of power. When a guy has to go check himself into the hospital after a practice, on Christmas, over the holiday, there's a line that's been crossed. And
not only that, when you take away Christmas from your employees, right, whether they work in radio or they work at a bank or if they work at a grocery store at HEB, I mean, something very extreme must be going on for you to say, no, you made plans for Christmas, you made flights home, you have reservations to go home and see family, but no, you're so bad at your job, I'm going to discipline you. You've got to come work here, be at this practice. In any organization, that's an awful thing and an extreme thing to do. Yeah, I mean, we know, listen, the NBA, Christmas is a huge day for the NBA, right? Like, it is what you watch on TV if you turn on the TV and you're not watching something Christmas related. So they were lucky enough that season to apparently not have a game on Christmas. So these guys were able to make plans with their families. And, that's not something they can say every year. Some years they are going to play on Christmas, especially I wouldn't be surprised if they play on Christmas this year, given that they are reigning NBA champs. So for him to take that away from them and then to treat them that way on top of it, the Mavs got to work some magic here. Yeah, I'm going to be very interested, and it was a great thing to look for that you brought up, Shannon. Keep an eye on Jason Kidd's Twitter account today. Because I mean, if I'm Mark Cuban, I'm demanding, dude, you've got to release a statement. We've got to do some damage control here. All right, coming up, still some things we want to get into. We mentioned, but I want to talk more about Alex Smith embarking on a broadcasting career with ESPN. We'll get into a little bit of the Houston Texans and the Deshaun Watson odyssey. We now know a little bit more about where Deshaun Watson stands as a quarterback with the Houston Texans now. Talk a little more NFL football as well. There's 2 NFL games tonight, in addition to the big baseball game, the Field of Dreams game between the Yankees and the White Sox in Iowa. On the Field of Dreams. Lots more coming up. Dave Ayler making the show go. Oh, and Dave Ayler's got some news about Screech from Saved by the Bell. I meant to get to that this segment, but we'll do that in the next segment. Breaking Screech news on a Throwback Thursday. Don't go. You're going to want to hear that. Don't go anywhere for that. She is Shannon Salty Sweeney. I'm Chris. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're with you till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. Woo! You listen, that song, Don't Bring Me Down, you listen closely, it sounds like, don't bring me down, Bruce. They're singing to Bruce. Don't bring me down, Bruce.
Isn't that what they're saying here?
I think so. I don't know who Bruce is. If I were Bruce and I heard it, it's like, hey, man, why do you think I'm bringing you down?
My dad's name is Bruce.
There, see? Yeah.
And I played that song a lot in my house when that came out.
Yeah, nice.
And I don't think my dad liked it too much.
Yeah. I used to work for a guy named Bruce Cates, and he never brought me down. But if he did, I'd say, don't bring me down, Bruce.
I was probably, 8 or 9 when that song came out. I used to play it incessantly. It was like one of my favorite songs.
That's amazing.
Even to this day, I still love ELO.
Yeah. Oh, they are remarkable. I love ELO too. Oh, that's loud. Foam Foot 420. I guess that's a good sign. Thank you. Yeah, Bruce Cates. I worked for him at KLRN. Great guy. I love Bruce Cates. Anthony Del Toro. I can't even count the kids that were hospitalized during football practice while playing Pop Warner football. Ha ha. Times sure have changed. None of that coaching strategy would be allowed anywhere these days, especially not in the pros. Yeah, I totally agree. Bruce Cates did TV in San Antonio for many, many years. He was like a TV news anchor and reporter. And apparently he did, this is when I was in California, he did like a game show, a local game show called Kaleidoscope, apparently, that I think he says haunts him to this day. Some people give him a hard time about it. But yeah, tremendous guy. Oh, I got to email something that I forgot about. I should do that now. Woo. Let's see. Four. Very cool. Foamfoot 420, thanks for having us in your lineup. You guys on Facebook can't see. Foamfoot wrote us on YouTube saying their sports lineup is this show from 6 to 9, then Dan Patrick from 9 to 11, then Jim Rome 11 to 2, then the Sports Grind from 2 to 4, and then the Mike Taylor Show from 4 to 7. So thank you. We're happy to be in your lineup, in your wheelhouse of sports programming. Here we go. Woo! Woo! Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney. The music provided unto you from soundscape stylist Super Dave Ayler, who on a throwback Thursday, on a day that they will play baseball near a cornfield in Iowa, in Dyersville, the Field of Dreams game tonight, Yankees, White Sox. But there's more throwback Field of Dreams things happening sort of in the world of sports. Dave Ayler, you've got yet another big story for a throwback Thursday.
Got breaking news here. Let me hit the sounder.
Oh! Whoa!
Apparently this weekend in the NASCAR world, on the, let's see, it's called the Verizon 200 in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, there will be a tribute car to the one and only Dustin Diamond, who played Screech on Saved by the Bell.
Screech from Saved by the Bell. Dustin Diamond will have his own tribute car.
Yes, number 52, wow. Driven by, let's see here, Josh Balicki. It's actually it's a 90s themed. There's pictures of it on TMZ.com. And it's called Saved by the King. It's actually sponsored by Insurance King, and Insurance King's CEO was friends with Dustin Diamond, and apparently he was a big racing fan.
Racing fan and a big Screech fan.
And well, Dustin was a big racing fan.
Oh, okay.
And he was friends with Dustin, and apparently he's gonna. It's a 90s theme. Looks like Saved by the Bell kind of graphics going on. And the racing suit is also with the same graphics, the 90s kind of graphics from Saved by the Bell. And it says Dustin and Diamond, 1977 to 2021.
And you can go look at it right now at TMZ.com or TMZsports.com. Shannon Salty Sweeney, when we say Saved by the Bell, when we say Screech, any recall of either of those from your television viewing past?
I never saw the show. I know that's where Mario Lopez is from.
So you've heard of the show, though.
And it's not like Screech has, throughout his lifetime, he had some troubles post Saved by the Bell.
As every child actor is supposed
to.
to.
And then it all happened, I think, pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, he died of
he
died of a lung cancer.
It was like a reboot, or they did something, and then it's horrible news. But other than that, I never watched the show. I never. Yeah, before my time.
Okay.
Before my time.
Oh wow, that's
they're doing that for them. Still will watch it, but good for them.
And that may be the first time on this show we have had big breaking NASCAR news. And who knew that when
that Saved by the Bell news
or Screech, the latest
Screech news, yeah.
Yeah, when you first said the word Screech news, I had in my eyes like he's no longer with us. So what could it be?
It is Screech back. So I wonder if at the Field of Dreams game tonight before the first pitch, if maybe they'll pay tribute to Screech. Probably not, but
I doubt it.
Just a thought, just an idea.
Maybe Mario Lopez will show up at that game or something. Or the one girl from Showgirls.
The one girl from Showgirls.
Showgirls, the movie?
Yeah, I've seen that. But what, was she on Saved by the Bell as well? Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was like one of her first movies after the show ended or something.
Oh my goodness. To go from Saved by the Bell to Showgirls, that's a transition.
Yeah, there's not much more you could see of her because she showed all her stuff in that movie.
Yeah, she pretty much showed. Yeah, there's that. Well, thank you very much, Dave Ayler, for that. Back to TV. Alex Smith a man, Shannon, that you wanted to be the Dallas Cowboys backup quarterback, you would still select him over Tony Romo, I am sure. Joining ESPN now. Is that the same network that RG3 is going? Are they both ESPN people now?
I think they also just lost. I think Nate Burleson was part of that broadcast team. He's going to CBS to basically pull a Strahan and be a morning show co-host. So they're filling space here.
Huh. Very, very interesting. So, and I've seen a couple because of the catastrophic injury that Alex Smith had. We've seen some interviews with him. I'm not sure though. I'm not sure if he necessarily is going to be, a dynamic on-air presence. It'll be interesting to find out because I knew Romo would be interesting, but Romo became like light years better than I thought he'd be. I mean, I think Romo is now the best color analyst out there. So, I mean, you never know until someone steps in front of the microphone in a situation like that, how good or how average they're going to be.
I'm looking at his Instagram, and 5 days ago, he posted a photo of himself. Apparently, he did a TED Talk. He hosted a TED Talk. I'm not sure on what, but so he's clearly not afraid to be in front of an audience.
Mm-hmm. I'm guessing his TED Talk was coming back from overcoming adversity.
Sure, yeah.
I would imagine. I'll have to look at that.
I'm still wanting to know. He posted that long 2.5 minute video about his retirement and ended it with not football related, but that his kids were going to be so excited about the backyard. And that's still my biggest question. Good for you, Alex Smith. You're getting a new gig. What's the backyard situation? I mean, are we putting in a water park? Are we pulling a Tony Parker? What's happening?
Very good question. Very good question. But see, I wonder, and obviously in the case of Alex Smith with the catastrophic injury that almost killed him, I can see stepping away from football after he made his comeback, which was historic and memorable and, inspired a lot of people. RG3 also had a number of injuries throughout his career. But, Shannon, as you and I have discussed, the skill set to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, and therefore, after you're a starter, to then utilize your skills as maybe a backup quarterback in the NFL, and you can make some good coin doing it. I'm assuming that Alex Smith and RG3 are getting pretty decent paydays from the 4-letter network, but you wonder if you do have the skills of an Alex Smith or an RG3 at quarterback in the NFL, and if there were an NFL team like the Dallas Cowboys that might pay you decent dollars to be a backup quarterback, plus the bonus. If you're a backup quarterback for the Cowboys or a team that is a playoff contender, I mean, a Nick Foles situation could happen for you theoretically. I find it interesting that, these guys have the skills to still quarterback in the NFL, yet step aside and go do broadcasting.
Yeah. Well, and the contract thing, would be interesting to look at because obviously RG3 has said that if he got an offer, he would go, and that he has made ESPN aware of that. So I'm curious of how much they are paying him, and if maybe they can get away with paying him a little less because they're like, this is the option you have right now because you're not getting an NFL job. And also, should one come available, we're not going to lose X amount of dollars here with you now. Now, Alex Smith, I would bet he's probably getting a bit higher chunk of change. I think he's committed to he doesn't seem like a Phillip Rivers who's now being like, I may come back. You never know.
Yeah.
After he's already had this other job in his mind for over a year.
And is Phillip Rivers coaching a high school team? Is that correct?
High school, yeah. In Alabama.
Okay. Wow. And again, Phillip Rivers could be a pretty darn good quarterback on any football team right now in the NFL if he chose.
And he's staying in shape.
Well, see, and then I wonder, and we brought this up earlier for anybody just tuning in. Dak Prescott is getting an MRI on his shoulder today, which both Shannon and I find unusual. The Cowboys are telling us nothing to see here, nothing to worry about. But I mean, if theoretically Dak was out for the rest of the year with something out of the ordinary, and it happened last year, would a guy like Phillip Rivers, if you gave him a phone call, would he come play for a team that could go to a Super Bowl? You have to wonder.
Yeah, I I don't know. I mean, now that maybe the whole Phillip Rivers conversation is what urged Carson Wentz to go back and stand on the sidelines, be like, no, I'm gonna be ready for week 1. I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna be here. You sign Hundley. You're giving Sam snaps with the first. Phillip is talking about coming back during the playoff. Nope, I'm here. I'm ready.
Going to be very interesting. Carson Wentz, I talked earlier about how the Cowboys seem cursed the last several years, if not decades. Carson Wentz just seems like a guy who's cursed currently. It seems like nothing's going to go right for him no matter what. And especially if he is, as we suspect, rushing himself back from this injury. Going to be interesting to see how that goes the rest of the year for him if he re-aggravates that. Or
I mean, a guy labeled with the injury curse for sure. And I know that this injury was strange in that I guess he didn't really feel it. It kind of popped up. There wasn't much, he's had it for a while, so it clearly wasn't really that much of an issue, but now he's had surgery on it. So how does it feel now? What's different about it? And yeah, if he's rushing himself back here, he may play those first couple of games, but if something happens, he knocks himself out for the rest of the season, you very well could see Phillip Rivers come in after his high school season concludes for the year.
Yeah, we just got a tweet from Mike saying he's listening to the show right now. All of this talk about injuries got him to thinking about when Kawhi Leonard's issues started. He says, I always go back to a missed dunk attempt from the free throw line versus the Rockets, then the ankle, which led to the quad, and Kawhi Leonard has had injury issues ever since. See, that's... Thank you, Kawhi. Shannon, you talk about Carson Wentz now as an injury-prone guy. This, to me, goes back, and this is what I worry about for Dak Prescott. You had the catastrophic ankle injury. Now we're looking at a shoulder, and you and I both theorize that, maybe his throwing motion was altered coming back from that ankle injury, and this may be causing other problems. I just pray to God that this is not the beginning of an injury-prone era for Dak Prescott. Hopefully this is nothing and Dak will be fine and he will light up the NFL this year and become the comeback player of the year. I heard somebody say, might have been Brady Quinn on the show that leads into us, I think yesterday, said, if you're betting money, a great bet in Vegas is Dak Prescott for comeback player of the year. I mean, if he just comes back and plays adequately, he will be the comeback player of the year coming off that injury. So betting tip.
I wouldn't put it past him. For sure. And we saw it during Hard Knocks. The Cowboys are obviously being very overprotective. They don't want him moving around a whole lot. They talked about, I guess, they wear those little vests, and they were like, after one practice, he was at 500 something. And they're like, we need to tone that back. That's too much movement for Dak. So they are being very overprotective. Obviously, and not luckily, but the injury did happen early on last season. So he's had that time. He's had those surgeries. He's had time to heal. And then obviously with the shoulder issue, they've gone to the Yankees, they've gone to the Rangers and talked to their medical staff about his arm. So they're taking every precaution. The only thing that worries me is Dak's eagerness. I mean, we saw him dropping the F-bombs. We saw him cursing. Garrett Gilbert was talking about the rep he took, and he was like, that should have been mine. I'm not the one who asked for you to be in there. So if anything, they need to hold him back from being a Carson Wentz, wanting to go too soon. They clearly have his best interest and the team's best interest in mind. So I'm hoping that they are right, that this is just precautionary. They wanted to say it out loud ahead of time that he was going to get this MRI because the media eventually would find out, and then it would become, why didn't they tell anybody? Is it more serious? Whatever. So maybe that's just them getting out ahead of it to say it's just precautionary. We just want to see where he is so that he can move forward because he's been throwing now, just not at full strength and obviously only getting so many reps. But I'm worried. As a Cowboys fan, this isn't where I wanted to be.
It is
going into the official start of preseason.
Yeah, it's concerning. All right, Shannon, it is a Field of Dreams Throwback Thursday. Our poll question. We posed the question, what is the greatest baseball movie ever? Got a lot of votes this morning on this one. What have we learned?
Yeah, right now, Major League has taken the lead with 46% of the vote. Field of Dreams has fallen back to 33% of the vote. The Natural, 8% and 12%. You tell us. We've got Bull Durham, The Rookie, Hoosiers, Moneyball, all coming in as options.
And there's a radio guy named Josh Innes, who says, Field of Dreams blows. It's long, boring, and trite. Thank you, Josh. I guess that's why it's so unpopular, Josh, because it's so bad.
Yep.
Thank you for that. Shannon Salty Sweeney, enjoy your day. Enjoy your nap if you get it. And enjoy the Field of Dreams game tonight.
I might watch it.
You might.
Just see what it looks
Yeah,
like.
it's gonna be memorable. Dave Ayler, great job. Are you gonna watch the Field of Dreams game tonight?
Absolutely. I'll be in front of the TV for that.
Me too.
I'm looking forward to it.
Outstanding job today, as always, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for the breaking screech and NASCAR news.
I do what I can.
I appreciate that. All right. Enjoy your Throwback Thursday. If you get a chance, the Field of Dreams game is on Fox tonight. First pitch at 6:15. Pregame just after 5 o'clock. Enjoy the day. Adios, amigos. We'll see you.